Let's get a check of the AccuWeather forecast. Here's meteorologist Matt Benz.
And windy out there for this afternoon. Temperatures, though, not too bad. We have some sun, some clouds, a high of 46 degrees. Then for tonight, mainly clear and brisk, a low of 27. Trending colder once again for tomorrow. Still breezy early in the day. Then sunshine will give way to some afternoon clouds, a high of 38. We are watching for a bit of snow to return later tomorrow night. That will accumulate a coating to an inch or so in nearby northern and western suburbs. That will lead to some slippery spots likely for the morning commute on Tuesday. That snow will quickly mix with and change over to rain before ending midday Tuesday with a high of 39. And for Christmas Eve day Wednesday, mostly sunny, not as cold, high of 43. Right now it's 45 degrees in Central Park with relative humidity at 32%. Repeating, the current temperature is 45, going up to 46 this afternoon in Midtown. AccuWeather meteorologist Matt Benz, a New York weather station, 1010 winds on 92.3 FM.
It seems many younger restaurant goers are looking to rub elbows with strangers.
A new survey by the restaurant reservation service Resy finds 90% of Gen Z diners enjoy large communal tables at restaurants.
We go to connect with our communities. We go to connect with our friends, our family, and increasingly strangers.
Resy's Paulo Lucchesi says 1 in 3 say they made a new friend. 1 in 7 later went on a date.
It's always been successful for us.
Walter Bansky, the owner of Republique in L.A., has had a large communal table for more than a decade.
It's obvious to us that there's those that love the tables and love being in the action and meeting others.
And that was Steve Cathan reporting 9 people are dead. At least 10 others are hurt after a mass shooting in South Africa. It happened early this morning in the township of Bakersdal, just west of Johannesburg. Police say about 12 gunmen opened fire inside a pub. It's the second mass shooting to happen in South Africa in 3 weeks. A manhunt for those suspects is underway. No one won last night's Powerball drawing, so buy a ticket before Monday night. A winner could be life-changing.
Current jackpot sits at $1.6 billion with an estimated cash value of just over $735 million. But before you go out making deposits on yachts and mansions, a reminder of the odds. A staggering 1 in 292 million.
It's still nice to dream. That was Andrew Dimbert reporting. There were 8 $1 million winners last night, but none of them were in our area. Right now it's 45 degrees. We're expecting to go up another degree or so this afternoon. It's time for Bloomberg Money Watch.
1010 wins.
All the news you could want.
It's my trusted news source.
I listen throughout the day.
Local all the time.
The station you know, the people you trust.
1010 wins at 92.3 FM.
2026 could turn out to be the year when AI-assisted shopping takes off.
When it comes to actually shopping or searching for products, it's still sort of in the early days.
Paige Smith wrote the story for Bloomberg News.
How Visa's group president for global markets sees it playing out is that in 2026, there will still sort of be that last transaction that takes place outside of the chatbot. So a consumer will kind of click on a link to actually complete the transaction.
But it's not just Visa looking for a pickup in AI-assisted shopping.
Earlier this year, a number of payments firms kind of rolled out their own offerings to sort of integrate with these chatbots that a lot of consumers are already using.
The goal for payments firms is to get consumers clicking on a link that will not just order the merchandise they've been eyeing, but will then complete the payment process. I'm Charlie Pellett, Bloomberg Money Watch on 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
WINS, WINS-FM and HD1 New York. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
AccuWeather says windy but not as cold with lots of sun this afternoon. A few clouds. We're expecting a high of 46. We're just about there now. Tonight mainly clear and brisk, going back down to 27 degrees. Then tomorrow breezy early, otherwise colder again with sun and a few puffy clouds. A high tomorrow of 38 degrees. More people get their news from 1010 Wins than from any other radio station in the nation. Anthony Boscow and Cayenne Landau are our service aides. Tanya Mercado is at the editor's desk. I'm Suzanne Colucci.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM, New York.
Good afternoon. It is 45 degrees at 2 o'clock. I'm Donna Vaughn. And here's what's happening. One man dead, another now under arrest after an incident in Kearney, New Jersey that forced an entire neighborhood to shelter in place. A domestic dispute in Far Rockaway, Queens ends with a man with a box cutter shot dead by police. A grandmother hundreds of miles away from here almost gets taken in by a con artist on Long Island. Another day of peace talks in Florida aimed at ending the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And a celebration of public service in Detroit, where 2 soup kitchen managers are retiring after 50 years helping to feed the community. Well, the Giants and Vikings in action at MetLife this afternoon, while the Jets are visiting New Orleans tonight. The Knicks home against the Heat. The Nets take on Toronto, and the Devils facing off with the Sabres. AccuWeather says some sun and windy this afternoon, a high 46. Winds news time 2:01. Let's get you where you need to go with Sue Aller.
And here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. About 60 minutes to the upper level of the George Washington Bridge. Lower level a little bit better. This is from 8095 and Route 46. You're better off going with Route 4 or the Palisades approach. Outbound about a 30-minute delay. 25 minutes inbound at the Lincoln. Outbound looks good. Now you've got 40 minutes inbound at the Holland Tunnel. 20 to 25 minutes on the outbound side. We're slow heading into Manhattan at the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel and the Brooklyn Bridge. The Manhattan Bridge or the Williamsburg Bridge going to be much better. We are slammed heading into Staten Island at the Goethals Bridge. Stick with the outer bridge and stop and go delays. And that is heading into Brooklyn at the Verrazano Bridge, both levels. But there is an upper level crash. Now, once you're in Brooklyn, you're hitting those brakes both ways on the BQE right by Atlantic Avenue. And in Queens, you're slammed on the Van Wyck Expressway. Southbound from about the Kew Gardens interchange all the way to Linden Boulevard. And on the northbound, you've got slowdowns from Linden Boulevard all the way to Atlantic Avenue. And that is all construction related. And here's what we see on Long Island's Big Three. The Big Three, not too bad, but it's the Meadowbrook that is jam-packed both ways right by the mall. Sue Aller, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Well, we see the word snow in the forecast for tomorrow, but it doesn't sound like you'll need to keep a shovel handy. We go live now to AccuWeather meteorologist Matt Benz for the latest on the forecast. Matt?
Yeah, we are patiently awaiting the next bit of snow that will move into the region. Mainly wet roads expected right here in the city, and probably not much more than a skiff of snow on some of the grassy surfaces around the area. We are looking at that snow returning later tomorrow night into the morning on Tuesday. That could accumulate a coating to an inch or so in nearby northern and western suburbs, and that could cause some slippery spots for the morning commute on Tuesday. So do use some caution. That will quickly change over to rain by the midday with just rain into Tuesday afternoon. Donna, back to you.
All right. Thank you, Matt. And keep it locked here at 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM for updates on the forecast from AccuWeather. Well, there's been an arrest in Kearney, New Jersey after an incident that began with a mysterious death and a shelter-in-place order in one residential neighborhood. We go live now to Kearney, where 1010 Wins reporter Amanda Alexander has the latest on this story for us. Amanda?
Hey, Donna, I just got word from Hudson County prosecutors. They tell me this all started last night when that man killed someone with what they call a pointed object, but it's believed to be a bow and arrow. But it didn't stop there. This morning, a regional SWAT team responded to negotiate with the suspect. That's after he locked himself in his home and a fire erupted. Their fire department did manage to get that fire out more than once. He might have been restarting it on the inside. Now, I did speak with a local councilman, Fred Estevez. He says officials told him that the man lit the fire and took cover in his basement. But Donna, just moments ago, he finally exited the home, armed with knives. Again, he is in police custody. And again, some neighbors haven't been inside their home since yesterday. Authorities had the entire block closed off for hours. And they told me they just wanted to go home, but they're glad he's finally caught. We're live in Kearney. Amanda Alexander, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
All right. Now, meanwhile, in Queens, a man who is armed with a box cutter is dead, shot by police that answered a domestic violence call overnight. This happened in a building on Namioki Street in Far Rockaway early this morning. Chief of Patrol Philip Rivera said the man's father had tried to get the weapon away from his son at first.
The father of the male immediately engaged in an altercation with his son, which then became physical. The officers gave multiple verbal commands to the male to drop the weapon as they attempted to de-escalate the situation. The male did not comply with the demands to drop the weapon. The father disengaged from the physical altercation with his son and retreated behind the uniformed police officers.
Now, police say the 29-year-old son then lunged at officers. One responded by firing a taser, another firing a gun. The man pronounced dead at Jamaica Hospital. Zoran Mamdani planning a New York City block party on his inauguration day.
This is not my victory. This is ours.
He posted on X that it will be held in the Canyon of Heroes in Lower Manhattan. It will include music, performances, as well as commentary from public officials. There's room for tens of thousands of people along that stretch of Broadway to take part in the celebration. Mamdani will be sworn in as the city's next mayor at 1 p.m. on the steps of City Hall. The block party scheduled for 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Well, two 17-year-olds are under arrest for allegedly slashing another teenager inside the Times Square subway station yesterday. The young suspects charged with assault, reckless endangerment, and harassment. No word on what led up to that incident. The victim, only 15. Hours earlier, around 5 p.m. last night, a 38-year-old slashed in the face inside a number 6 train as it was pulling into Grand Central. In that case, sources say the victim was attacked after getting into an argument over a seat. And a third slashing to report, this one in Astoria. That's where a 40-year-old man was stabbed multiple times on board an R train after getting into an argument there. It happened around 2 yesterday morning. A word now that a con artist on Long Island almost got away with a scam targeting a grandmother hundreds of miles from here. Investigators say the 80-year-old North Dakota woman got a phone call from someone pretending to be her granddaughter and asking for bail money after a car crash. She then sent $8,500 in cash to an address in Shirley. The victim eventually called police when she realized her granddaughter had not been in a traffic accident and had not called for help. She then contacted Suffolk Police, who worked with local prosecutors to track down the package of money. U.S. postal inspectors managed to intercept the package before it was delivered to that Shirley address, and the North Dakota grandmother did get her money back, but no arrests yet in that case. Well, the U.S. Coast Guard is pursuing another oil tanker in the Caribbean. It comes as American forces seized a second vessel off the coast of Venezuela yesterday.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio defending the administration's escalation.
At the end of the day, it is clear that the current status quo with the Venezuelan regime is intolerable for the United States.
But unlike that first vessel, Saturday's tanker is not on any sanctions list maintained by the U.S., the European Union, the U.K., or the UN, according to Kepler, a data firm that tracks transportation and logistics networks.
Correspondent Selena Wong. Peace talks continue in Florida today to try to bring an end to the Russian invasion of Ukraine.
Russian state news is reporting that Russian envoy Kirill Dmitriev has been meeting in Miami Sunday with U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff and President Donald Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner. Dmitriev told reporters that discussions have been pressing on constructively and that they'll continue on Monday. On Saturday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Washington had proposed trilateral talks between Ukraine, Russia, and the U.S. The Kremlin denies that is under discussion. Zelensky said Sunday that diplomatic efforts are, quote, moving forward quite quickly, and our team in Florida has been working with the American side, end quote. I'm Donna Warder.
Now, President Trump has unleashed an extensive diplomatic push to end the war, but his efforts have run into sharply conflicting demands from both Russia and Ukraine. It is 45 degrees, partly sunny skies in Midtown. Our high should be only about 46 before the afternoon is out. We'll get to traffic and the full AccuWeather forecast next. Well, just ahead here on 1010 Wins, celebrating public service from a couple of veterans and a youngster who's just getting started with helping others. But first, Wins News Time 2:11. Let's get you where you need to go now with Sue Aller.
And here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. It's about 16 minutes to the upper level of the George Washington Bridge. Lower level, a little bit better at 45. Worst approaches, 89, 80, 95, and 46. Best approach is going to be from the Palisades. Outbound about 30 minutes from the Claus Bronx Expressway approach. The other approaches are doing much better. We're looking at about 30 minutes inbound at the Lincoln Tunnel. Outbound 15 to 20. Inbound Holland Tunnel. And that's about a 45-minute delay, outbound 20 to 25 minutes. Now, we are slow at the Goethals Bridge heading into Staten Island, so you definitely want to go with the outer bridge. And then once you're in Staten Island, slammed as you approach the Brooklyn-bound Verrazano Bridge. But good news on the Verrazano Bridge, upper level, we had some slowdowns there because of a collision. That has been cleared away. Now, we do have a crash, and this is a broken-down truck on Route 109 in New Jersey, eastbound right at Raymond Boulevard in Newark, and it takes out the left lane. Sue Aller, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
And now the AccuWeather forecast. Here's meteorologist Matt Benz.
And out the door here for this afternoon, blustery one, sunshine, some clouds, temperatures around 46 here for the high. Then for tonight, mainly clear, brisk, a low of 27. Tomorrow, colder once again, still breezy at least early in the day. Early sun followed by some clouds, high at 38. And here comes that snow word returning for later tomorrow night into the first part of Tuesday. That could put down a coating to an inch in nearby northern and western suburbs, a coating to an inch with slippery spots likely for the morning commute on Tuesday. That snow quickly mixes with and changes over to rain before ending midday. High at 39 Tuesday afternoon. Not as cold for Wednesday, mostly sunny with a high 43. Right now it's 45 in Central Park with a relative humidity at 32%. Repeating, the current temperature is 45, going up to 46 this afternoon in Midtown. I'm Mackie with the meteorologist, Matt Benz on New York's weather station, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM.
So talk about a life of public service. 2 soup kitchen managers in Detroit are retiring after nearly 50 years of helping to feed their community. They've been running Mana Meal out of a church basement in the Corktown neighborhood since 1976. They say they'll miss the people the most. Meanwhile, in Massachusetts, a 4th grader in need chose to give back to his community and get the recognition, and gets the recognition he deserves.
10-year-old Victor Amaro of Lowell, Massachusetts, was chosen to participate in the Heroes and Helpers program, which gives $100 gift cards to 100 of the most in-need children in the city to shop for Christmas. He got nothing for himself.
I got her the dog food because it was her birthday.
Victor's decision caught the attention of police officer Emmanuel Antonetti.
I enjoy doing this because it gives a different perspective than what people normally see.
Antonetti worked with a charity to get Victor another $100 Target gift card.
Correspondent Christopher Cruz. Well, partly sunny skies right now, 45 degrees in Midtown. Let's go to a WFAN Sports Flash.
A Jackson Dart interception setting up the Vikings inside the Giants' red zone, and the Vikings take advantage. Quarterback J.J. McCarthy running in a score from 12 yards out. 13-3 Vikings leading the Giants. Big Blue in danger of dropping to 2-13. Under 2 minutes to play in the first half. You can hear the action on WFAN. As for the Jets, their defense is bent but not broken, at least to this point. Saints rookie quarterback Tyler Shuck has more than 150 passing yards in the first half, but the Jets have only allowed field goals as they trail 9-6 in New Orleans. A minute and a half to play in the first half there. The Knicks trying to shake off their first loss in 10 games. That came to the Sixers on Friday night. They're hosting the Heat at the Garden at 6 o'clock. At the same time, there will be action at Barclays with the Nets welcoming the Raptors. You can hear that on WFAN. Jack Hughes returns to the ice for the Devils after his freak hand injury at a team dinner last month. The Devils taking on the Sabres at the Rock at 7 o'clock. At the same time, the Rangers are visiting the Predators in Nashville. And men's college basketball, Hofstra has a 37-35 lead on Quinnipiac a few minutes in Hempstead. Hofstra coming off wins over ACC powers Pitt and Syracuse. From the WFAN Sports Desk, I'm Pete McCarthy.
Well, a warning from health officials in Europe about an illicit drug that's similar to cocaine and now growing in popularity.
Powerful lab-made psychoactive drugs known as bath salts are slipping more and more through legal loopholes, with drug trafficking moving online. David Sanchez is a pharmacologist and researcher at Barcelona University. He says banning these drugs is almost impossible.
The way that you can buy them makes this false perception of safety.
In Europe, more governments are launching prevention and awareness campaigns targeting young people with the risks.
The most important is about information, how these drugs work and which are the defects you can get with them.
Correspondent Brad Gibson in Paris. From the hustle of Hunts Point to the pulse of Staten Island, we are New York's all-news station.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Good afternoon. 45 degrees at 2:20. I'm Donna Vaughn, and here's what's happening. A standoff is over in Kearney, New Jersey, after an entire neighborhood was forced to shelter in place. 1 dead, 1 arrest. A fond farewell for the penny today at the Lincoln Memorial, where crowds held a funeral of sorts for the discontinued coin featuring Abe Lincoln's picture. Well, the holiday getaway now well underway. Millions are hitting the road for what could be the busiest holiday travel season ever in the U.S. A photo of President Trump now missing from the Epstein files, one of more than a dozen items that have suddenly vanished from the Justice Department website. And how are you feeling about the economy? If you're like most Americans, not so good, says a new poll, because basics like food and housing have just gotten so pricey. Well, the Jets at the Saints this afternoon. The Giants, meanwhile, home against Minnesota. Then tonight, the Knicks take on Miami at the Garden. Nets and Raptors in Brooklyn. Devils skating against Buffalo. AccuWeather says high 46 this afternoon with some blustery sunshine. Winds News Time 2:21. Let's get you where you need to go now with Sue Aller.
And here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. We're looking at 45 to 60 minutes to the inbound upper level of the George Washington Bridge. Outbound, maybe a little bit better at 45 to 50 minutes. Now, the worst approaches are going to be from 8095 and 46. The best approaches will be from Route 4 and the Palisades. It's 30 minutes to the outbound side from the Crossbonds Expressway approach. The west side is your best side. We've got 20 to 25 minutes now both ways at the Lincoln, 45 minutes inbound at the Holland, outbound about a 30-minute delay, and slow heading into Staten Island at the Goethals Bridge. You want to go with the outer bridge. Now, if you're traveling in Queens, you are loaded up, and this is on the LIE both ways by Queens Boulevard and both ways by Springfield Boulevard. So it's not perfect on the Grand Central, but still a much better ride. And here's what we see on Long Island's Big Three. Just a little bit slow on the eastbound southern right by the Wantagh Parkway. The northern and the LIE look really good, but you've got mall delays on the Meadowbrook, and that is both ways right by the Roosevelt Field Mall. Sue Aller, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Well, it began with a mysterious death. It's ended with an arrest. A standoff in Kearney, New Jersey is finally over, with authorities working to piece together what happened and why.
Hudson County prosecutors say this started Saturday night when a suspect killed a man with a bow and arrow. Kamar lives around the corner.
This ain't 1920s and people using bow and arrow?
Yeah, that sense of disbelief continuing Sunday morning when that same suspect barricaded himself in his home. A fire erupting shortly after. Councilman Fred Estevez says
they had problems with him before. He is a mental case. He's very well known with the police in Kearney.
He later exited the home armed with knives, but he's now in police custody. Amanda Alexander, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM in Kearney.
Timothy Cardinal Dolan talking about what he may do next now that Pope Leo has accepted his mandatory retirement request. The Cardinal was a guest on Fox News Sunday Morning Futures today.
I got some requests, like to go to some universities, just to be on campus, maybe to take a sabbatical, maybe to teach a course. I even got a request, an offer to write a book. I got an offer to do a documentary on the status of the church in the United States. So things come in, you know.
Now, it's the end of an era for the Archdiocese of New York, which has been headed by Dolan since 2009. He turned in his resignation back in February as required by the Catholic Church when cardinals turn 75, though resignations aren't always quickly accepted by the pontiff. Pope Leo will replace Dolan with Ronald Hicks, the current bishop of Joliet, Illinois, Leo's home state. Well, the Powerball jackpot is still growing with no big winner last night. The top prize for Monday night's drawing is now $1.6 billion.
No ticket matched all 6 numbers, pushing the current run even deeper into the record books. This was the 45th drawing in this jackpot cycle. That's the most in Powerball history. The jackpot hasn't been won since back in September, when 2 tickets in Missouri and Texas split a $1.7 billion prize.
Correspondent Andrew Dimbert with that report. Well, a funeral of sorts today for the penny. Hundreds of people gathered outside the Lincoln Memorial for a send-off for the copper-colored coin, which was just discontinued by the U.S. Mint last month. The ceremony featured a few Abraham Lincoln impersonators.
But even if I lose a penny, my face is still on the $5 bill.
True that. Now, this isn't the first time an American coin has been retired, though. It's been a while. Who remembers the half-cent coin? That one discontinued back in 1857. 45 degrees and sunshine right now in Midtown. Let's check in with Bloomberg Money Watch.
When you think about a department store like Macy's, the past probably comes to mind.
Everything's better at Macy's. We're known as the quality store.
So you may be surprised what comes to CEO Tony Spring's mind when he thinks about Macy's future.
I love Costco as a brand. I respect them immensely.
Why Costco?
People pay to get in.
Now, that doesn't mean he's going to start charging membership fees, but Spring says it does speak to a loyalty that he'd like to bring to his own shopping chain.
The clarity of what they do, the followership that they have, I have that same ambition for Macy's, Bloomingdale's, and Bluemercury in very different businesses.
Spring's been focused on closing less profitable Macy's locations since he took over the company nearly 2 years ago. That's starting to pay off in better than expected earnings. Now Spring says he's focused on the quality of those stores.
Love for the Costco brand and the experience that people have is consistent enough that it reinforces that. That's what I want for Macy's.
I'm Nathan Hager, Bloomberg Money Watch on 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
1010 Wins.
They're always on top of breaking news.
Everything you need to know.
They are the voice of New York and New Yorkers. 1010 Wins.
All news, all the time.
At 92.3 FM. Well, God's Love We Deliver is looking for holiday helpers for their annual winter feast. There are distribution centers in all 5 boroughs. Just go to glwd.org to volunteer. I'm Donna Vaughn, Wins News Time 2:30. Good afternoon. I'm Suzanne Colucci. No de-escalation in rising tensions with the Maduro regime in Venezuela. The U.S. Coast Guard is currently pursuing an oil tanker in the Caribbean Sea. It comes as DHS Secretary Kristi Noem confirms the U.S. Coast Guard seized yet another sanctioned oil tanker off Venezuela's coast on Saturday. President Maduro is now responding.
Maduro firing back this week with a blunt message to Americans.
Not blood for oil.
The U.S. has now amassed the largest military presence in the Caribbean in decades, including the world's largest aircraft carrier. The Pentagon also striking 28 alleged drug boats in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific, killing at least 100 people without providing any public evidence or identifying those killed.
Correspondent Selena Wang, at least 104 people have been killed in 28 known strikes since early September. Wins News Time 2:31. Let's get you where you need to go. Here's Sue Aller.
And here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. We're still seeing about 60 minutes to the upper level of the George Washington Bridge, a little bit better to the lower level, and that is from 8095 and Route 46. Route 4, the Palisades, doing a little bit better. Outbound is a 30-minute delay, 20 to 25 minutes both ways at the Lincoln. You're looking at 40 minutes inbound at the Holland, 20 minutes on the outbound side. Heading into Staten Island, the Goethals Bridge is jammed. The outer bridge is better, and you're slow heading into Brooklyn at the Verrazano Bridge on both levels. Now, we also have some slowdowns in Rockland County on the New York State Thruway from about the Garden State Parkway connector all the way to the Palisades Parkway, but you are doing okay both ways over the Mario Cuomo Bridge. Now, here's what we see on Long Island's Big Three. We're starting to see slowdowns on the Southern State Parkway both ways by the Wandsworth Parkway. The Northern and the LIE, they're doing fine, but the Meadowbrook Parkway is slammed in both directions right by the Roosevelt Field Mall, and there's no alternate for that. Sue Aller, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Let's get a check now of the AccuWeather forecast. Here's meteorologist Matt Benz.
I'm blustery and chilly, not as chilly out there for this afternoon. We have some sun. We're heading up to a high 46 degrees. And for tonight, mainly clear. Still brisk, a low of 27, and still a little on the breezy side to start the day for tomorrow. Colder once again. Sunshine followed by some afternoon clouds, a high 38. Bit of snow expected to move back into the tri-state then for tomorrow night, which could accumulate a coating to an inch in nearby northern and western suburbs. And that can lead to slippery spots likely for the morning commute on Tuesday. Higher snow amounts possible north of 287. Snow will mix with and change over to a bit of rain for the midday Tuesday with a high 39. And for Christmas Eve day, mostly sunny, less cold with a high 43. Right now it's 45 degrees in Central Park with a relative humidity at 32%. Repeating, the current temperature is 45, heading up to 46 this afternoon in Midtown. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Matt Benz on New York's weather station, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
At least 16 files have disappeared from the Justice Department's public Jeffrey Epstein webpage. It includes a photo of President Trump and Melania with Epstein and his associate Ghislaine Maxwell. The Justice Department has not said why the files were there Friday and gone Saturday. Democratic lawmakers are also accusing the DOJ of violating the statute that the government put out all the information it has related to the case.
Well, DOJ says that the process has been slowed by the fact that they have to be very careful about the victims, that they're trying to make sure all the victim names are redacted. They said, in fact, last week that they came across new victim names and that there are more than 1,200 victim names and family members that they have to protect.
And that was correspondent Pierre Thomas. The power is back on in San Francisco. Over 100,000 homes and businesses were in the dark after a widespread outage.
San Francisco officials say a fire inside a PG&E substation forced a massive power outage across the city on Saturday.
Today, we have experienced a large-scale outage in San Francisco, impacting approximately 130,000 customers.
PG&E spokesperson Tamar Sarkisian says the fire broke out around 1 p.m. By 4:30, the grid was stabilized, meaning no further outages. San Francisco fire officials had to use carbon dioxide to help suppress the fire burning inside the substation, which was under control around 6 p.m. But still no lights for much of the city.
And that was correspondent Ansar Hassan. There's lots of buzz about a muddy eruption at Yellowstone National Park. It happened at Black Diamond Pool. Video shared by the U.S. Geological Survey on social media shows mud spraying up and out of the pool. That's right between park favorites Old Faithful and Grand Prismatic. The agency says the Black Diamond Pool has previously been the site of another hydrothermal explosion. In 2024, the so-called dirty eruptions reach up to 40 feet high, and they're sporadic. The Yellowstone Volcano Observation webcam captures it all. Erica Kirk says she wants J.D. Vance to be the next president of the United States. She endorsed him at the opening night of Turning Point's America Fest convention in Phoenix. Vance has not said whether he plans to run for president. Vance is on stage now, and the speakers also include Mike Johnson and Donald Trump Jr. A new CBS News poll takes a look at how Americans feel about the cost of living as we head into 2026.
As 2025 wraps up, Americans continue to voice negative views of the economy. Many just find America an expensive place to live. Relatively few describe basics like food and housing as easy to afford. 23% say housing is easy to afford. 44% can afford it, but say it's not easy. And another 33% say it's outright difficult to afford. Americans feel a similar way about health care.
And that was Jennifer DePinto. Box office numbers are rolling in. Find out how the new Avatar did with fans. Entertainment is next. Time for entertainment. Avatar Fire and Ash rules at the box office this weekend.
Dominion here.
It had an $88 million domestic debut, earning the top spot. However, it fell shy of the $134 million debut of Avatar: The Way of Water. Tell your smart device to play 1010 Wins.
The News Watch never stops. This is 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Good afternoon. It's 45 degrees at 2:40. I'm Suzanne Colucci, and here's what's happening. An apparent bow and arrow attack in Kearney, New Jersey triggers 2 days of chaos for residents. New details are emerging. Police say they do have a suspect in custody. A deadly police-involved shooting in Far Rockaway erupts after a brawl between a father and his son. New information about the disappearance of 16 files from the Justice Department's Jeffrey Epstein webpage. A mass shooting in South Africa. At least 9 people are dead after a pack of gunmen storm into a pub and open fire. Still no Powerball winner. Now Monday's drawing is up to $1.6 billion and growing. Sports, the Giants are playing the Vikings. The Jets are taking on the Saints. AccuWeather says